Some people believe that it was the Zimmerman Note that caused the U.S. to enter World War I. But the more influential thing was the sinking of the RMS Lusitania. The loss of over 100 American lives and the impact on many people that had been touched by those lives was the real reason for why the U.S. entered World War I. The 787-foot British ocean liner, the RMS Lusitania, left New York for Liverpool, England on May 1st, 1915, knowing very well that it would go through a war on the seas with the German submarines around the coast of Europe. On the seventh day of its voyage, the Lusitania encountered one of these subs and was fired upon. The ending result would be the sinking of the ship along with over 1,100 people, including 128 Americans and other cargo. Many Americans and politicians were outraged and wanted war, although this should not have been a surprise with Germany's newspaper warning, telling passengers they were traveling at their own risk because of the war, and the Germans declared British waters a war zone. It was instructed that all ships headed to Great Britain should be on the lookout for German U-boats and take immediate precautionary measures such as travel at full speed and make zigzag movements throughout the water. However, the captain of the Lusitania slowed the boat down because of fog and traveled in a predictable line. Approximately 14 miles off the coast of southern Ireland, neither the captain of the Lusitania nor any of his crew realized that the German U-boat U-20 had already spotted and targeted them. On May 7th, the ship was hit by an exploding torpedo on its starboard side. The torpedo blast was followed by a larger explosion, probably in the ship's boilers, and the ship sank in less than 20 minutes. The sinking of the ship heavily influenced President Wilson to take action with the Germans and their violation of their pledge, stating that they would suspend unrestricted submarine warfare.
In 1909, an international law differentiated contraband and non-contraband shipping. Contraband stated weapons, ammunition, and other war materials could be blockaded and regulated during wartime. Non-contraband cargoes like food, cloth, and raw goods could not be regulated through a blockade, allowing countries to import and trade these items. In 1913, the Lusitania entered a dock in Liverpool and was fitted of war service and with the installation of ammunition and gun mounts on her decks to protect the ship. The mounts, which were under one of the decks, were ready for the addition of the guns when needed. This type of ammunition was probably stored in the boat.
Although Germany's definite motives are unknown, we assume the sinking of the Lusitania was to provoke the U.S. and have them enter the war. The Germans risked American involvement because they were confident they could take over Britain. Germany later argued they could violate the Sussex Pledge because the United States was no longer a neutral party because they had supplied weapons and financial assistance to the Allies.
The loss of the Lusitania provoked great outrage in the United States that helped create the public outcry that would have America join the war.
World War I made the national government much more powerful than it had ever been. Like in May of 1917, Congress passed the Selective Service Act, which required 24 million men to register for the draft and eventually increased the size of the army from 120,000 to 5 million. The government also commandeered control of much of the economy to get the country ready to fight, creating new agencies to regulate industry, transportation, labor relations, and agriculture.
Politicians were able to get people to get angry and attack a common enemy, Germany. This caused many people to rise up and riot. Even if the Lusitania had been smuggling goods, they argued that it did not justify such slaughter of American citizens.
The very first Uncle Sam poster was created shortly after the sinking of the Lusitania, showing propaganda was getting people ready for war.
The sinking of the RMS Lusitania was the most influential reason as to why the U.S. entered World War I. Well, that's all, folks. Have a good night.